Hello, good morning from Toronto. Hamas Siddiqui with you today again with an exciting live session. Uh, and this session is going to open up a lot of your brain cells, regarding team building and your capabilities and how do you enhance your capabilities and how that enhances the capability of a team. And works towards organization building really. So I'm very, very excited. Today we have a fascinating coach uh, all the way from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I think Kuala Lumpur, if I'm not mistaken, uh, who is going to share his tremendous experience in working with teams and working with teams in many countries. So he has worked in several countries. He has developed teams and revitalized those ill teams into very effective teams. So without any further ado, I'll bring him on stage and will provide you a brief introduction, and then leave it to him to open up the stage and share what he has been doing. Michael Teoh from Malaysia. Good morning from Toronto. I know it's 9 p.m. there. So and I personally thank you for spending time over the weekend to share this knowledge with the community that we have, you and I have, and other community who is going to watch us later on this platform, on these platforms. This live is going on my LinkedIn and also on my Facebook as well as on my YouTube channel. So thank you, Michael, for being with us. So Michael is a founding CEO of an organization called Thriving Talents, which is based in Malaysia, and he has been in leadership and team building for many years. We'll listen from him, and he has served many companies in about 41 countries. Uh, Couple of interesting things about him that his uh, workshops are popular, right? Workshops are popular anyways, but this particular workshop in which President Barack Obama visited, not attended, visited and met him, is a great, achievement, I would call it, because United States presidents do not really, they don't have time, frankly speaking, to visit. They only visit if there's something really interesting for them. And he has also shared stage with Sir Richard Branson of Virgin. Um, he's been featured on United Nations and CNN, and he has been in human capital development. That's his passion, and this is what he does for earning his bread and spreading information. So, Michael, thank you very much. Share what
Ahmad,
you have been doing with our audience. And by the way, anybody who is with us, please comment and ask questions. This is your opportunity. Next 30-35 minutes, share in the comment, and I will be happy to display your name online so that other people can connect with you. So
oh
don't
yes.
be generous in your comments, as I call it, right? So, Michael, over to you. Share what
Ahmad,
you have been doing.
thank you so much. You are so kind with your introduction. Hello, everybody, all the way in the northern part of America, in the US and Canada. Good morning to most of you there. And to all of you in parts of Asia, hello, good evening, or good night. Yeah, but we're not falling asleep yet, especially for this session, because it's a very important session. And I promise you, it's going to be exciting. Hamad, you have been so kind. Yes, you're right. I founded a company called Thriving Talents. We're very grateful where we're able to make a living, grow the business, and most importantly, continue on growing our impact with our passion in helping organizations and leaders to motivate and mobilize their teams to be more productive and profitable. And Hamad, I think the universe has been really kind to me. Someone like your good self, a friend whom I've met all the way in Canada. I'm here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It's night now, it's morning for you. But I'm very grateful to have people like you supporting us, because throughout the years, as we started Thriving Talents, that was how we have expanded our business to 41 countries so far. I was in Canada before as well. We did some projects in Toronto. We did some projects in Vancouver. And I absolutely love the Canadian landscape. I am very proud to say that I have actually camped out at most of your national parks, including Banff. So that was very powerful. Okay, so that was a memory that I really cherish. But doing what I do best, that is to help leaders to understand teams, have actually brought me to work with companies like Microsoft, HSBC, Coca-Cola, Shell, across the world. So I'm very honored to be here in your show. And Hamad, how did this happen? So I want to give credit to my friend Ayu. All right, Ayu from Malaysia as well. So Hamad was interviewing her in one of the past few sessions. And I noticed it because we were all connected on LinkedIn. I didn't know Hamad yet at that time. I just know that he was actually going to interview this friend of mine, and they appeared on LinkedIn together. And there you go. Just like all of you right now, I started commenting. I started asking Ayu, hey, who's this Hamad guy? And Ayu said, man, he's really cool. He is the LinkedIn coach for leaders. He helps you to grow your LinkedIn followers organically. All right, because these days there are even some schemes going on where you could buy LinkedIn followers, but the problem is you buy clones. But what Hamad here is, I asked Ayu, I said, so Hamad here teaches you how to grow organic followers, like followers that are genuinely invested in your content? And she said, yeah, and he's been doing an amazing job. And that was how I got connected with Hamad. I say, hey, Hamad, I have this humble beginning. If I could appear on your show, let me share some knowledge. I'm very good in building teams. I absolutely love it. So can we appear on the show? And then there you have it. We are now here today. So Hamad, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Hey, I just want to recognize some of our followers right now. I saw Faris. Hello, Faris. You were commenting. Iktar, if I got your name right. Iktar. Yep. Hello, Faraz. Iftihar. Iftikhar.
Yeah, Faraz is
All
from
right.
UK, and
Yes.
I don't exactly know from where he is, but I think, Ali Raza.
Ali Reza. Hello, Ali. Hello.
Uh,
Nur Alia. Nur Alia. That's nice. Yeah. Nur Alia. Yes, good evening. Selamat malam, selamat petang. Tufail. Hello, everybody. I always make it a point, Hamad. Imran, okay. I always make it a point to recognize all of our followers who are tuning in, because number one, they're all investing their time to be here. And I want to assure you that for the next 25, 30 minutes, you're going to get a lot of knowledge from my years over, wow, it's, my goodness, I'm just remembering, I'm getting really old. Let me see, 13 years of being in the business to help companies create better culture, to create a more productive culture, to create a happier culture through team building. All right, so I'll be sharing 13 years worth of experience condensed only for Hamad and your community right here on LinkedIn. Hello, Vikas.
Our community, and I really wanted to appreciate. I mean, of course, everybody out there is great, and it's really great to see everyone who is participating. I'm sure they will learn a lot, and please ask questions. And this is the opportunity really for us to learn, because when you ask questions, our mind also starts thinking that way. Vikas, there's a story behind him. So this is like, as you said, Michael, how we got connected and how LinkedIn actually helped us collaborate for this live session. And maybe going forward, there could be some business collaboration. We don't know. But this is how things work. This is how globe has shrunk. So people are now connected. And unless we are not connected, we won't grow. It's just a fact. Very true. Vikas has been following me, I don't know for how long, but he sent me a message. So you have to take the next step. So he took the next step, and he kind of thanked me. And I said, what did I do for you? He said, no, you are sharing content that really helped me in my thinking process. So I said, okay, that's great. I just share 2 to 3 pieces of content, sometimes very randomly on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. And if this is helping the community that I am part of, that Michael, you are part of, and the whole
Yes.
community around us,
That's
I
right.
think we have done our job. I personally feel I was on a session yesterday, my 10 p.m. with a community in Saskatoon, far away from Toronto,
All right.
and there were like 16 people. They really wanted to learn how LinkedIn can help them. They were all new immigrants here in Canada,
Nice.
and I
Right.
did like an hour and a half session, hour and 15-minute session.
Mhm.
And at the end of the session,
Mhm.
the organizers asked me whether I liked them. They're organizing this event in which about 16 to 20 people. I said the
Nice.
thing is that you took time on a Friday evening at your 8 p.m., which is dinner time here, to organize it. I took
Oh,
time at my 10 p.m. to speak to
lots of
people.
love.
But yeah, but the thing is that I don't personally, and you don't personally want to change the world. We cannot change the world. But if I and Michael, you or anybody out there can change one person's thinking process, that's it. You have done it because you have changed one person's thinking process. So my objective is if I could change one, two, three, four people, help them grow, change their thinking process, I've done my job, right? So, Michael,
Excellent, Hamad.
without any further, I mean, we have more people joining in. So while we talk, we will continue recognizing these people. Plus,
For
please
sure.
ask
For sure.
questions. So, Michael, I mean, we have heard about team building and how teams can help organizations grow. There are case studies.
For
Um,
sure.
what is your one take on how team building transformed
Yeah.
an organization in your space, the company that you worked with, and what were some of the challenges they had? And
Yeah.
after fixing the team or working with the team, what was the outcome?
Excellent. Thank you, Hamad, and thank you all for tuning in. Okay. So, first and foremost, before I address that question that you posed, Hamad, allow me to set the context.
So, please.
So, for all of you who are part of this right now, hey, just like Hamad say, share out the goodness, share out the inspiration, share out this live event, post it on your LinkedIn. And for those of you on Facebook, hey, hit the love button, okay? Share out the video right now because Hamad, let's talk about the art of team building right here. And the first thing I want to say is that when you decide either you are a leader or even if you are a manager in a company or an organization, you have to make one decision clear. And what is that one decision? A leader, a manager, someone who leads, someone who has a team with them has to be selfless. And for those of you watching this right now, if you want to prove, not to me and Hamad, no, not to us, we're not important, prove to yourself. You want to be selfless, share out this video because you never know whatever content we're sharing could actually accidentally, indirectly change a person's life. You know, Hamad, there's one story about the starfish. There was a little girl walking around the beach and she would be collecting starfish that was stranded along the beach. And two elderly couples came and laughed at her and said, "Girl, there are thousands of starfishes stranded on the beach that very day. And you have been here for the entire day, taking one by one and throwing it back into the sea. But you're not going to make a lot of difference. There's still thousands. Every time when the waves come crashing in, there's still thousands of people, thousands of starfishes, right?" But that little girl told these two elderly couple and said, "It's okay." She took up one starfish, she threw it back into the sea and said, "I know that there are thousands are stranded here, but at least for that one that I just threw back into the sea, I would have made a difference to that one starfish's life." And if we look at starfishes as humans, this is when, as a leader, if we have the intention to inspire, if we have the intention to give praises, to recognize your team members, even though it's just mere words that you say to recognize them, you cannot imagine the magnitude of the emotions, the positive reaffirmation that you would give your team members. Threw it back into the sea and said, "I know that there are thousands of stranded, actually, but at least for that one that I just threw I'm just hearing some echo right here. Excellent. Let's see.
Gone.
No, no problem, no problem. So what I was gonna say is that as a leader, just like using that starfish story, what you could do is that when you decide to say something nice, when you decide to recognize a contribution of a team member, all right, you don't have to buy them gifts. You don't have to take them to expensive treats. All you need to do is just be a nicer human being, recognize them for what they have done. That itself would have contributed towards you building your teams, because they would have opened their mind, they would have appreciated you, you would have shifted their emotions towards being more positive. All right. So again, some people have asked me, how much they're like, Michael, but I run a company, I'm a startup, I only have 4 employees, I'm nobody, I'm not the president of the United States, I'm not the prime minister of Canada, I am not a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, what change can I make? And I said, well, that's the thing. Remember the starfish story. Make that difference to that one life, that one person in your team. And it may cause a ripple effect that you may not even realize. So I think that's the first principle. All right. And then, Hamad, with your permission, I would like to set 2 more contexts.
Sure, please.
Now, for those of you who are tuning into our session right now, you must be facing certain challenges. What challenges? Challenges in, Michael, right now, a lot of countries are still in a lockdown. We are still fighting COVID-19, and we're winning this, guys. Hang in there, okay? We are fighting COVID-19. A lot of our teams are working from home. I'm having some challenges. I'm having problems to motivate them, and that has caused the drop in productivity. I feel that I am disconnected with them. What should I do? You want to tune in to this session right now if you have that challenge. I'm going to teach you how to build that team, even though you could do it remotely. All right. Number 2, to set the context, it is very important as well that you're tuning into this session because you believe that your team could do more. You know, it's a very excruciating, a very frustrating experience for a manager when you feel that you believe your team could do more, but for some reason you're stuck. You don't know how to push them forward, especially they're working remotely. Now businesses are restarting. What can you do? Is there a activity that you could run with them? How do you structure your meetings? We will be covering all of that today. So Hamad, that is my promise to your community and my community and everyone watching this. I'm here to teach you, to share some experience with you, 13 years worth of how you could motivate, how you could align your teams in this new normal of everyone working from home, of everyone not really being able to socialize and get around as we fight COVID-19 and embrace our businesses reopening. So Hamad, that's the context. Would you have any questions that you'd like to elaborate on before I continue?
So I would just take a cue from what you just said.
Sure.
And by the way, we have like almost 30 more or 28 more minutes. So let's try to cover it within that.
Nice.
Because I mean, what you have talked is a vast subject, and I'm sure we'll come back and talk more about more things in the times to come. I think
sure.
you have touched upon a very, very important subject, which is the new normal.
Yes.
And I personally believe, and whoever I have spoken with, the new normal is going to stay.
Yeah.
We don't know for how long. Probably this will become the new normal. I hate wearing a
Yeah.
mask going out, but that's new normal, right?
Right.
So we have to live with it. So we cannot. And this was the objective when I started my 2021 growth challenge. That was the
Yeah.
objective I had.
Yeah.
Okay, we had times in which people lost jobs, people lost loved ones, and people
That's right.
suffered. But do we live like that forever, or do we really want to change ourselves? And as human beings, we are very flexible. We can
Yes.
always figure out, and figuring out is the real leadership. If you can figure out, you are the leader. And
Yes.
I know for the fact that Michael has figured out certain ways to help our teams grow even in a very difficult situation such as COVID-19 and team working remotely. By the way, we already have questions, well, at least one question which has come in. So let's start, Michael, for next couple of minutes. Share with people certain scenarios, when people are working from home, what could have happened. And I think for a lot of us, that will be an experience, kind of a reassurance. Okay, they are not alone. It has happened with other teams also. And
Right.
what are a couple of things that you would recommend people to do to kind of improve their productivity and bring these teams together, increase the bond within the teams?
Excellent. Thank you, Hamad. So first off, when you mentioned that I have accumulated experiences in building teams, yes, I have, but I need to give credit to our clients because I run Thriving Talents. We're just a small outfit, but really it is our work with some of the largest companies in the world. You're talking about Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, that allowed us, that opened our mind when I conduct trainings, when I conduct virtual team building exercises for them, and I get to work with hundreds of their employees, hundreds of their executives. As much as I am delivering the training or the team building experience, I'm learning at the same time. So I need to give credit to all my clients because they help me grow, they help me learn as well. That's why I'm here to be able to share this with you. So people hire me to do team building experiences now virtually anywhere around the world. And I think, Hamad, me being here in Malaysia, a lot of countries like the United States, Canada, Australia, the UK, the European countries, they're taking advantage of this because when they engage my team to do their virtual team session, number one, they're paying a lot cheaper because it's in Asia, right? But let me share with you some big takeaways that I've got from working with them. Number one, during this time when your team members are not next to you literally, like they're far away, and sometimes you'll be guessing like, what are they doing? Are they aligned? So the first thing I want to share is engagement right here. And what do I mean engagement? I want to give you a scenario. All right. How do you know when you meet a stranger? How do you know if he or she is a stranger? Normally, a stranger is someone whom you would define as you don't really know about them. You are guessing what they do. You may have doubts. You do not know their agendas. That's why that person appears as a stranger for you. But now here's the question. How do you transform a stranger towards being an acquaintance and then a friend? And I want to give you all this formula right here. This is the start right here. To transform a stranger to a friend, you need to be able to open yourself up to share three things. Number one, share with them about your past. Number two, share with them about your present. Number three, share with them about your future. You do not want to appear as a stranger to your team. You want your team to see you as an acquaintance and then as a friend, as a comrade. Okay? So here's what you need to do. As we are all disconnected right now, we're all working remotely from home. The first thing you have to do is whenever you have a session with your team, hey, try this out. Have that session not being related towards work. Like Hamad told me today, hey, have a casual session, all right? Let's have a chat. I think my community wants to know you, Michael Teoh, as a person before we went live. So that's what you want to do, right? So you want to have a casual session, perhaps have a cup of tea. Yeah, have a cup of tea with your team. Just tell them, bring a cup of wine, go onto Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, Google Hangouts, whatever. And then you as the leader, start talking to them about, hey, how is your day? And then whenever there's an opportunity for you to share about, how was your day? About your past. What were some of the challenges that you faced when you were working remotely? This allows them to see the real you. And people tend to say that, Michael, but we are managers, we are leaders, we should not appear weak. Gone are those days. There are too many people blowing their trumpets online. There are too many people saying, I am Superman, I cannot be touched, I'm unbreakable. And people are calling those bluffs. So people now want to find that they are able to relate to leaders who are real. And real comes from being strategically vulnerable. So right here, I would say strategically vulnerable, right? I mean, I'm not expecting you to tell all your deepest secrets to your team, okay? But strategically vulnerable here means you tell them about your past, what were some of your learnings. You tell them about the present. How are you right now as their leader? How is the team? What do you feel about the team? And then you tell them about the future. This is when alignment comes in. You want to tell them saying that you as their leader or manager, this is the goal that you want them to achieve together. This is the support you're going to provide them to achieve those goals. And then excite them that you're going to be with them as you march on together, working remotely to achieve that goal. Right? So again, the first principle for team building is this: as the manager, it starts with us. You need to transform yourself from being a stranger towards being an acquaintance and a friend. Okay? And that comes with 3 elements: share about your past, talk about your present, and excite them with your future. So that's the first thing. Second principle I'd like to share here is engagement. Now, we know that for teams right now, it's a little bit tough. They can't travel around. They can't see you face to face. The second thing I would recommend is have a daily huddle. Now, people dread this, Hamad. People say, Michael, no, daily huddle, no. I'm running away from meetings. I can't afford meeting every day. Here's the catch. When you have daily huddle, ask your team members and yourself to be standing up doing the team huddle. So let me teach you this, okay? So I learned this from Gallup. So for those of you who know Gallup, it was a book, it was a concept, a framework that was popularized by this author called Vern Harnish. And he has been using this model to train senior leaders in major corporations around the world. So based on Gallup, one of the principles of a daily huddle is when the leader stands up, and the leader, for this case, would be remotely with a webcam looking at us right now. And then what happened is he starts the day asking the team members what is the top 3 things that they'll be focusing on for the day. Now, the team members may share they're focusing on A, B, C. Now, here's the catch. If the team leader feels that, hang on, Hamad, you're focusing on B, I think we have more priorities than that. And I'll tell you, if you intercept, for this case, Hamad, right? If you intercept that person's sharing at that time, that is when your meeting will turn absolutely long. Because, for example, if I am intercepting Hamad's sharing just now, I mean, Tracy, Shireen, they're not involved with the discussion with Hamad. They will feel it's a waste of time. So don't do that. What you want to do as the leader, if I'm the leader here with Hamad, I would listen to what Hamad is sharing with me, A, B, C. And I feel that, Hamad, you should not be focusing on B. Don't worry about it. Just make a point, say, Hamad, we need to talk about your daily priorities. So let's catch up right after this meeting. So you have a separate call with Hamad. What happened is that when you do this daily huddle, number one, it makes sure that you get everybody up the momentum as they're doing something from home productively. Number two, you would also make sure that these daily huddles do not drag on. And number three, you are able to give a personalized engagement or interaction with your specific team members that you know you need to help, that you know you need to clarify things, okay? One last thing to back up the second principle of engagement, Hamad. The only reason why people, teams are not bonding, they are not coming together, especially during this new normal, this new working from home era, is because they have doubts. It's because they are not sure. It is because they feel they are aligned, but deep inside they don't feel they are aligned. You know? So what happened is that as a leader, you need to be open, you need to be welcoming, and you need to make yourself accessible to your team members to set them right from the start. And that means opening yourself to conversations. Yeah. Go ahead, Ahmad. Oh, hang on,
So
Hamad. I think you're muted. Yeah, there you go.
It's all right now. So
No
I
problem.
muted because you were hearing some sound. So I fully agree with you, Michael. The biggest, I think, drawback of this whole thing, if I call it drawback, is the lack of communication. So lack of communication builds confusion.
Oh, yes, there you
And
go.
it is our job as managers or leaders or you, whatever you may call it, to reduce that gap, reduce that
That's right.
communication gap. People are confused because people are not seeing things. They're not going to the offices. They don't see how things are happening. So I think this daily huddle is a great way to initiate that process and start building or reducing the gap. People may still not like it, but they will start liking it on the way, like maybe like after 2 or 3 times, as soon as they feel that it is really important. Because what I heard also from a lot of people
Mhm.
is that they're actually spending a lot of time on Zoom meetings, and it actually bores them. So as as leaders, I think one of the responsibility is to be very strategic, and you
Yeah,
use the word strategic also.
that's right.
In what do you really want to achieve of this meeting? You cannot twist people, right? People can still duck work if they're sitting on their desk, and they
Yeah,
can duck work if they're sitting at their homes in their
yeah,
pajamas and in their t-shirts.
that's
So
right.
so the beauty of a leader is to keep an eye. So I work with so I'm co-founder of an education technology company, which is
Very
actually
nice.
beta testing
Yes,
a product which is an integration of school management system,
nice,
cloud-based, and learning management system, and a virtual
nice,
classroom, all
nice,
the way in Pakistan. I have
nice.
I have two people working in Pakistan on that product.
Very
And
nice.
every morning, my 8:30 p.m. a.m. or around 9 p.m., I call them. They're on call with me just to debrief me as to what they did during the day. I only take 15 minutes of their time, just 15
Yes,
minutes. And
yes,
I exactly know what I want to ask them. Now, initially, it was a challenge for them,
yeah,
but 3, 4, 5 days later, they exactly know what I'm going to ask, and they exactly know on what parameters their performance will be measured.
yeah. There you
And that's
go.
fine. So we are human being, right? We will
That's right.
learn. So just
That's right.
excite them. I think the bottom line of this whole discussion that you said, just excite them.
Yes, that's
They
right.
will love it.
Yep, yep. You know, Hamad, you mentioned something very powerful, and I'm going to make 2 points here that I want all of you tuning in to this right now to write it down. Okay. Number one is this. Let's be honest right here. Okay. I know having a daily huddle, Hamad just mentioned, people are now saying they have Zoom fatigue. Number one, as I've mentioned, you do not want to drag the meetings, hence why I gave you the format. But here's the catch. Okay. You do not need to fall in love with the process. You, as a leader, as a manager, if you try to excite your team about the process, let's wake up at 8 a.m. and do our daily huddle. I can tell you they're going to be, oh my God, why? Right? Why did my boss attend this show by Hamad and Michael Teoh? Why did he learn this thing, this new thing, right? No, but as a leader, as a manager, what you need to do is not to excite your team about the process. You need to excite them about the results, just like what Hamad said. You need to share with them that, hey, my dear friends, my dear team members, we are having our daily huddle every day at 8 a.m. But guess what? Because of that, in these 2 weeks, look at how much speed we have picked up. Look at the momentum we have built. And if we remain on course, this means that our company will achieve this target. That means you're going to get incentivized, you're going to get rewarded. I want you to remind them about that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second point that Hamad mentioned, very powerful as well in there, is that clarity is power. The only reason why maybe your team is not really bonding with you, okay, it's because they may not understand. People say, Michael, I've already briefed my team last month about our targets. They should remember. No, they won't. I mean, give your team, cut them some slack because there's so many things happening. I mean, politics, so many things happening around the world, COVID-19, the vaccination, so many things happening. Your team members are human beings. They are being bombarded with so many advertisements. Please make the effort. Weekly reminders of their goals. Align them again and again. All right. I mean, another best practice is this. Actually get your team members to look at a picture and put your targets in the picture, right? Put the numbers there, an inspiring picture, send the pictures to them and ask them to use it as their desktop background, use it as their phone screensaver, so that they would always be reminded of those goals. Okay, so these are some of the things that you could do actually. How about back to you? Just want to reinforce your points.
So thank you very much. I think we have few questions. I think
Excellent. Let's take some questions
let's
as we continue
motivate
learning.
our participants here. And with this question, this is a good question from Josefa. He's asking, tell us how organizations, startup and SME scale up with limited resources and budget to hire A plus employees. I think so. He
Excellent.
picked up A plus employees
Yeah.
from one of the sessions that I did with him uh,
Yes.
over years. By the way, he's a consultant. He's a small business consultant based based in
Excellent.
Pakistan, and he has
Excellent.
been my. So we worked together for 14, 13 years almost. Uh,
Fantastic. Hello, Huzaifa.
and he's a great fellow. He's masters in project management and
Great.
also teaches at a couple of universities. So he's a phenomenal guy. And it's a very
Excellent.
good question, right? You know, they don't have,
Yeah.
and I think this is the beautiful challenge to turn these C plus or C minus team players into A plus team players. How do
All
you do
right.
that?
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so Huzaifa, your question is you're running a startup, you're running a small to medium enterprise. You do not have the gigantic budget to hire the best talent, the A plus talent, as he mentioned, right? So I'm going to give you a strategy and I'm going to give you a case study. All right, now for me to hone this strategy, for me to be able to share this case study with you, I mean, big companies have paid my firm a lot of money to help study their employees' behaviors, and then we localize it to startups. So just for you, Hamad and Huzaifa, it's a free consultation right here. So let's talk about the first strategy. So the strategy here is number one, if you're a startup or SME, let's not kid each other. You do not have $1 billion funds like JP Morgan or Coca-Cola to actually spend on talent acquisition. So the one thing you need to do right is number one, is all about culture. Oh my God, Michael Teoh, what a cliche word to say. Everybody says that, culture. But how do you showcase your culture? So that is the strategy, showcase your culture. Now, let me share with you a case study. We have been hired by startups to go to universities, all right? Because of our links with universities here in Malaysia, we have a framework that can also be replicated for you abroad, overseas. But let's go back to the story. So we were hired by a startup to actually say, hey, Michael, I want to scale up. I want to hire the best people, but I don't have the budget. What can I do about it? So I said, the first thing you got to do is that you got to engage with the top graduates in universities, even before they graduate. You need to start giving them a team building experience. And then the startup was like, what do you mean? I said, here's the strategy. We would go into the university, and these students, this soon to graduate students, would be in their final year, or they'll be in their year 2 or year 3. Okay. Now you want to go in there, and we could organize a team building session for them. Now, what is the team building session? Is it career talks? The last thing students want to go now is career talks. Okay, so I recommended to that startup to organize business challenges. So what happened is that when they go into the university, we partner with the university. We would tell the university that, hey, send your best students. So that will be a class of 50 of them. Send your best students. This is going to be a business simulation challenge where we would design different scenarios. They have to solve problems. It's like a hackathon. And then that startup would be the sponsor. They don't have to sponsor a lot of cash. They would just have to sponsor their time, their energy, and their know-how to mentor these students. And I would tell that startup, make sure that you get your key leaders in that hackathon, in that business simulation challenge. Let them bond with the students, okay? And then from my side, my company, we're going to create some crisis. We're going to create some crisis as part of the simulation where there are going to be some times where the students would struggle to solve certain problems. The students would struggle in leading their teams in the simulation, in the team building simulation. So that is when I would then plant the CEO of that startup in. So he's pretty much like the knight in shining armor. He comes in, he guides the students, he mentors them. Now what happened is he's beginning to build mind share with the students. Can you see that? And because they now know the CEO, they now know the entrepreneur of the startup, they begin to fall in love with the possibilities of working for that startup. Now, obviously, for that CEO of that startup that I was talking about, we taught him about storytelling. We taught him about, again, from that first principle, Hamad, about not appearing as a stranger to the students, but more on appearing as a friend. So talk about his past, talk about the present, and excite them about the future. Despite them being in a startup, tell them if the students join them, what exciting future they can get. They're part of history. They're going to build their legacy, right? So I can tell you that particular startup got so many applications from all of these top graduates from 3 universities that we did this program, that they have managed to roll it out on their own. I mean, that's my cue. I come in for 1 or 2 years, help you set up your team building faculty, and then you're supposed to run it on your own. All right, that's the true hallmark of success for a
Yeah,
consultant like myself, I believe.
absolutely.
So that's what I would do, Huzaifa. That's what I would do. Okay. Always remember, you can't fight Coca-Cola. You can't fight Microsoft's budget when it comes to talent recruitment. What you can do, though, you can be earlier than them to reach out to the top talents. Make sure you curate a team building program with them and make them fall in love, expose them to your culture, fall in love with your culture and your leadership. So that would
So
be my advice for you.
great. So what my take of this session, this last bit, Michael, is that I think to be able to do that, you have to have a culture. So you have to build a culture within your organization, be it like a two people organization or three people
Oh, yeah.
organization. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to build a culture. You have to be mindful of growth.
That's
Growth
right.
does not happen. So as people say, people do not leave companies. People leave bosses. So if you're
Yeah,
a
that's right.
micromanager, if you want to twist your people all the time, then you will face this challenge. And just to kind of give you another story, I know the session is going to go a little longer
No
because
problem. I
the
hope they're
session is
getting
such.
value. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that this is tons of information. Um, uh, so, I've worked with salespeople a lot, like, with companies to train the salespeople in kind of
Nice.
motivating them to do more sales.
Nice.
And so I was working with an insurance company, Allianz EFU, by the way.
Very nice. Allianz.
It's a
Very
huge
nice.
company.
In Canada, by the way, how much?
No, in Pakistan. In
Oh, in
Pakistan.
Pakistan,
Yeah.
Allianz. Nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
so I
Very
was
nice. Yes.
working with them, with their
Yep.
sales team, and they were also depressed, right? Because
Right.
the sales were down and all sorts of stuff. So I said, okay, who is the youngest team member in terms of number of years? And there was a
Yeah.
guy who just joined in about 4 or 5 months ago, and I said, who is the most senior member in the team? There was somebody who had been working in the team for 5 6 years.
Right.
I said, okay. Then I started comparing him. Okay, do you do you get enough to feed your family?
Right.
Yes. How many sales do you make? Maybe one or two in a month. And I
Yeah.
spoke to this guy who was very senior. How many sales do you make in a year? In a month? It's about 6 or 7 sales. Okay. Are you happy? Are you? Yeah, I'm driving a car. Kids go to school, because he was like married with kids. I said this means there's something happening. There is enough for everyone to feed in
Yeah.
this whole pool. Now, if you're so this is one of the motivations, right? I'm
Yeah.
earning enough to feed my family is the first
That's right.
motivation as a human being, right?
That's right.
The second motivation is that you should start appreciating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
start
That's true.
appreciating it. And this is what I said, okay, your average success rate is about 2%. So you make 100 calls, you probably get two deals done.
Right.
And with only 2% success, you are a several billion rupees company.
Yeah.
Think about it. So if you
Yeah.
just add 0.5% into it, you're going to skyrocket it. So
That's right.
do not be bothered or worried about that sale is happening. That's why you're here, right?
That's
It
right.
may not happen with that pace. So you have to build a culture of coming together and taking the ownership of this process. And one of the things that I also love and I've experimented with is the power of our words, the words we speak. So in any sales team, people use what I call negative words, such as target.
Right.
Uh, can we replace that target word to an objective? So when you
Yeah.
say target, psychologically, it is someone else's target, and you're just trying to
Right.
achieve it.
Right.
If it's an objective, then it's a combined objective
That's
of
right.
a team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is what I wanted to discuss. Objective of a team, which means that now you have to play as a team in the field to win, which means
Right.
everybody will get benefit of it. So
Very true.
try to motivate teams by kind of inculcating the culture, harness the team as we call it, right? You cannot
Yes.
enforce ideas. You have to cultivate those ideas.
Yes.
And then once the ideas are cultivated, the culture will be built in an organization. And the culture then drives everything. Do you agree to that, Michael?
I agree. I agree. And just to share with you, Hamad, when we talk about culture, and it is a very important point to make, all right? It's a very important point where, you see, part of the work that I do, so what happened is companies come up to me and said, Michael, we know team building is very important, but we have so many things to do. We got to chase our clients. We need to earn money. We need to gain revenue. Can you help us do the team building? And I would say, sure, I'll do it for you. Okay. And now seeing that we are all working remotely, we could do it online because we have 19 online simulations that we can do with your team. But I'm not here to talk about those simulations. I'll talk to you about the backbone, the structure that we use, and how is it related to building a culture. Number one, we have to remember is a culture of your company or your team comes from a set of rules that you agree to play with your team that best represents who you are as a company. That is why companies have values. They list down their values. They have their slogan. That is all part and parcel of forming a culture. Now, where does team building come in? Now, we can now run team building remotely. So what happened is that a very seasoned team builder like my team and myself, because we have worked across 41 countries and with some of the biggest clients, we would always let the participants, when they come in to our simulations that we have designed, we would get them to go through 4 stages of teams development, aligned with their respective culture, aligned with their respective slogan. Now, what are these 4 stages? It's adopted from the classic model, Hamad, called Tuckman's model. The stage of forming, storming, norming, performing. Now, this is a masterclass on management. So I want all of you to be writing this down. Share this link out, okay? Share this link out from Hamad. All right, let's build the community. Now, back to the case right here. 4 stages. Forming. In any simulation or team building exercise you do, you need to have elements where the team members get to know each other and they get to know the company. All right? That is what you call forming. It's the formative stage, okay? Number 2, once you go from forming, where normally all the emotions will be rather of excitement or of fear, they'll be thinking, oh my God, I'm working with different people in this different team. They're from different countries. They're working remotely. What am I going to do, right? Now, from excitement or fear, according to Tuckman, you will move to storming. Now, what is storming? Storming is a storm. It doesn't sound so positive. It sounds negative, right? It can be, okay? So when you come to the storming level, you will notice that your motivation in your team will start to drop. You're going to notice that conflicts will start to come up. Now, in any virtual team building or team building scenario, we would then create a crisis so that we get your team members to have conflict. It has to happen because we're human beings. It is better that you or through us, we have created an environment for them to experience minimal conflict so that they would know how to handle it. The worst thing is a lot of companies, when they feel, oh, I don't want to invest in team building, it's okay, let them figure it out themselves. The problem is when it happens in your real company, that is when the conflict in the storming stage gets out of hand. And that's when people start to leave. That's when people start to gossip. That's when people start to backstab each other. So in a simulation where it's a safe environment facilitated by a trainer, or you could do it yourself, you need to tell your team that, hey, conflict is going to be introduced. And the reason is we want to see how you solve the conflict together. So as they're in the storming mode, they start to see how different team members are. They start to see each other's weaknesses. This is when, according to Tuckman, you need to go to the 3rd stage very quickly. Norming. What is norming? Normalize. How do you normalize? You normalize by setting SOP, standard operating procedures. You normalize by setting a culture. You normalize by aligning everyone towards a goal, towards a, just like Hamad say, objective, okay? You want to align all of them. For those that are having conflict, you want them to talk it out. You want to facilitate that conversation. You want to teach them how to solve conflicts in your team whenever it appears again. And trust me, it will appear again because we're human beings. Okay? So from norming, once you have normalized, you have agreed on the shared way forward, you move on to the last stage, according to Tuckman, performing. That is when everyone knows what everyone is doing. Everyone has been educated that Hey, we may have our differences, Hamad. We may have our weaknesses, but let's look at our strengths. Let's build on our strengths. We are one unit. We complement each other's strengths. We cover each other's weaknesses, and we grow from that. The 4 stages to build a strong team bond. You want to build a team? Let them go through forming, storming, norming, performing. And as a leader, one last thing for me to share for this segment right here. There's this saying, Hamad, and I want to hear your comments. The saying goes, average leaders react to problems when it first happened. Great leaders, though, anticipate those problems even before they happen so that they are prepared for them. Let me hear your thoughts, Hamad. Do you agree?
Beautiful. See, so something similar to what you just said, actually, and I have experienced it in my whole working career for more than 35 years now. Your capability to figure out can actually help you grow.
Yep.
Which means if you can figure out how the future would be like, figuring out, I would say 100%, but this is how it would be. You will actually, this is like foreseeing your future, right? You're figuring out. You can figure out, okay, what will happen if I do this? And, if you can figure out, then you can fix it too, right?
That's
when
right.
it happens. You're
That's right.
prepared. It's like Jim Rohn, the famous motivational speaker.
That's
He
right.
always said, pave your roof when it's not raining. If you try to pave your roof when it's raining, it won't work. So
Yes.
pave your roof, and you can only pave your roof when it's not raining, when you know that it's not raining, right? But you know
That's
that it
right.
will rain also, right? Particularly in Malaysia, right? It will rain. It will
It
definitely rain.
will.
So, and also, think about it is people, you cannot camouflage yourself. Those days have gone by. People are connected. People know. People are very smart. Particularly, I love this young generation. They are very, very smart people. They're very smart. And often we, like older people, think that we are wise. I often say, which is a very controversial sentence that I'm going to say. A lot of people don't like me for this, but I've actually read it somewhere. Say, as you grow in your age, you become stupid. And I know it's a bad way of expressing it, but that's how it was written somewhere. And there was an explanation underneath. The explanation is that as you grow in your age, you think you have become wiser, but you are not actually aligned with the development that is happening, because the evolution in the past 25, 30 years has been phenomenal.
That's right.
I cannot still operate an iPhone, for instance, or a Mac. My kids would, like, they would just do it like that. So they are much smarter than me because they can use things that are happening now.
Yes,
I'm
that's right.
still, thinking on the past examples. A lot of
Yeah.
past examples are no longer valid. Period.
Yeah.
Seth Godin, in one of his books, says exactly the same thing. So the marketing has to evolve, and he's a marketeer. So that all those old theories of marketing have to be replaced with new theories, and they're
That's
still
right.
trying to figure out how the new theories will come. And similarly with leadership and
Yes.
team building,
Yes.
you have to actually, we all have to work in what was written in the book, so what the theory is, and how practically you can implement their theory into certain situations. And,
Definitely.
and this COVID thing, this pandemic thing, is actually telling us how to. This is a challenge that we all are facing all over the world. Some countries are facing is more. Some countries there is relatively much more easier to handle things, but
Yeah.
it's all over. So this is going to continue, and this is going to um, help us do things in a very different manner. So, Michael, thank you very much. I know if we continue, we can continue for hours on this subject.
Thank you,
You
Hamad. It's a pleasure.
you really opened up so many kind of brain cells, as I call it. I said, you people are going to have, they will have to shake their heads because you're going to open up their brain cells, and
Thank you.
how easy it is for someone like you to come and share your thoughts so openly. And instead of people going back and reading like tons of books, still have to read books. That's fine. But listening to people like you, coming to my live session, listening to TED Talks, they can actually take the juice and
Yes.
start implementing that juice into their organization, onto themselves, for instance.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I should start from your own things. So
That's
build a
right.
culture, fix
That's right.
yourself.
That's right.
Okay, this is what I don't do the right way. I should do this way. Improve yourself, and the organizations will start growing automatically.
That's right. Hamad, I know that we are reaching the end of our program, and I would just like to share just three things, if you're
Please.
okay. And to all of your followers right now, I understand. I
Our
did
followers, our followers.
Yeah. Well, you see, I'm always thinking like I want to give value so much
Yes.
to your follower because they are all tuning in. I mean, my followers are here too. Hello, salam sejahtera, everybody. Go and comment, okay? But I'm always thinking whenever I appear on shows like that, it's always about you, your community, Hamad. I want to give so much back, and this is related to the 3 points I want to share right now. Point number one is this. I did notice that there are people asking questions. I know that because this segment has been designed for us to go for like 35 minutes, we're already close to an hour. I mean, check it out. That's how much I love sharing. So for those of you who have questions, here's what I want to do. Okay, I'm on Hamad's LinkedIn. All right, please do get connected with me there. Okay, post your questions up. Okay, and I would love to answer them. Okay, I would love to answer them. You could either drop me a message over on LinkedIn or go to Hamad's update for this segment. Drop your question there, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So that's number one, Hamad. So I really want to continue adding value with your followers after this. Number two, Hamad, I would love to return back to your show, but I would like to give a special challenge. So the challenge is, hey, for those of you who are watching this right now, let's start with a small goal, with a small objective, okay? So I want you to share this video. If you're watching on LinkedIn or you're watching on Facebook, I want you to share this video at least 15 times, 15, yeah? 15 times, just share this video. Hamad would be able to track. So once, if Hamad tells me that, Michael, we have hit 15, that means there are 15 reshares. Hamad, here's what I'm willing to do. I am willing to sponsor and dedicate 1 more hour of my time, but it's going to be different. It's going to be just answering questions from your community. Okay, so what happened is that if we achieve 15 reshares, okay, what happened is Hamad is going to launch a poll or something, and he's going to give you an opportunity to post questions. And please write your name. I want to know where that question come from so that I could really facilitate and help you. Okay, and that 1 hour session would just be me answering your questions about building teams, about leadership, about understanding the younger generation of the workforce, of your team members, your employees. Happy to do that, Hamad, but only if they have 15 reshares on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Okay, Hamad? So that's the second thing I wish to share. The third thing is, if you were to ask me what's my parting words for all of us for this segment, I look forward to connect with all of you on social media. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I would also invite all of you, if you know that your organization needs virtual team engagement, hey, reach out to me. Happy to share some knowledge. Or if you just feel that, Michael, just take away that headache from me, do it. Happy to explore that with you as well. Okay, we really want to expand our footprint to serve your communities in your country as well. And last but not least, Hamad, before I go, I've learned something just earlier today before we hop onto this call. And COVID-19, it's about COVID-19. So COVID-19, what has it done? It has changed our world, yes. But one thing that we often overlook about the impact of COVID-19, COVID-19 has actually exposed and accelerated and exaggerated all the weaknesses in our business, all the weaknesses in our leadership, all of the weaknesses in our people. That's what COVID-19 has done. It exaggerated, it accelerated, and it exposed it. Now, I know COVID-19 is giving us a tough time. It also impacted my business severely, especially last year. We are still building, we're still picking up. But I can tell you, on hindsight though, it's weird for me to say this, Ahmad, and to all of you right now, but I'm grateful. I'm trying to be optimistic and positive here because COVID-19 has given me such a humbling experience, because it has exposed to me the weaknesses of my business, the weaknesses of perhaps how I've led my teams. And I'm glad that I'm at this juncture where I could learn and I could still repair things. So my dear friends, COVID-19 is bad, I know. My best hopes and prayers go out to all of you. But there's a silver lining, as they say. It has exposed your weaknesses, giving you an opportunity to enhance your strength so that you would dwarf your weaknesses. And it allows you to build a really resilient team that if they can survive COVID-19, economic impact, social impact with you, they're going to be in for the long run with you. And that's how you're going to build a successful company and team together. With this, thank you, Hamad. I love you all.
Thank
good
you very
night
much,
from us
Michael.
here in Asia, and good morning for all of you at the other side of the world.
Right. It's 10 p.m. I know in Malaysia. So
Lots of love
great. Thank you very much. I think as I said, thank you right at the beginning. It's going to be fun-packed, knowledge-packed session. And what I can see is that those who started, who are like in the beginning of the session, after even 1 hour, they're still with us. So that actually shows how the session would be. I will see the Facebook and the YouTube later on, and I will share that link with you. So before closing the session, Michael, I'll put you on the backstage for a while, and please stay there for a couple of minutes. And thank you, everyone. Michael, thanks a million for your time, and thanks for sharing your knowledge. And LinkedIn is all about connecting with people. Okay,
that's right.
So whoever is with me, who is going to watch this video later on, my videos usually go up to 1,000, close to 1,000 views in 24 hours. Please connect with each other, connect with Michael, because this is how you grow. You connect, and your network is your net worth.
That's right.
Your network is your net worth. Start become a giver, not start, become a giver. Once you become a giver, you will start receiving. And this is what Michael is doing today. This is what I do. We are givers. We are giving our time. We are giving our knowledge. We are putting an effort just for you, And I'm learning too. Michael is learning too. We all learn from each other, right? The world has changed. Embrace that change. If we don't embrace the change, we'll be out from the league. With that, Michael, thanks again. I'm going to put you backstage before I close the session. Thanks a million. All right, LinkedIn family, I think it was just full of spark, full of energy session from Michael. He's just phenomenal. He's giving you a challenge. So if you want him to come back and maybe in a couple of weeks' time or a month's time for yet another powerful session, you have to do two key things. Share this video 15 times and also prepare your questions. And you can keep sharing those questions with Michael on his DM. Just keep DMing him or send those questions to me. We'll combine those questions and we'll try to target the next session, or our objective will be to address those questions that will come from you. With that, thank you very much. Hamas Siddiqui is signing off from Toronto. It's a sunny day outside, 8 degrees temperature, so I'm going to go out for a walk later on. Thank you very much. You all have a wonderful time.